Hello, and welcome to tonight's live. I am so excited to get to do this. I tried to have this 2 weeks ago, and everything crashed on me and it did not work. So let's get going. Let me ask you a question. Are you living the life that you dreamed of? Are you living the life that you expected you would have? Or do you find yourself kind of in the same old rut and you can't figure out why nothing is changing? Well, that was totally me. I was trying everything to have a different lifestyle, a different environment. And I continued to just, I feel like I was on this roller coaster, or actually more like a hamster wheel, where it just kept looking the same. And I couldn't figure out, no matter how hard I was trying, I could not figure out how to change that. And so, what we're going to talk about today is how do you change what you have? Because it doesn't work to just try to motivate yourself there. It doesn't work if you're just trying to will your way there. There's one missing ingredient that I never understood until recently. And about 5 years ago, I went on a really deep dive journey to really uncover, why was my life not changing? I was doing all the right things. I was changing up what I was doing, and things would be different for a while, but then they'd go back to the same. Have you ever had that feeling? Share with me maybe an experience you had where you're trying to change, but you just keep getting this more of the same old thing. And you think, what the heck is going on? Why is nothing changing for me? Well, it's because we are programmed. We are programmed. The first 7 years of our life is really where the majority goes, but that programming continues on. And what I mean by programmed is we have something called our reptilian brain, our subconscious. And 95, and some will argue 98% of our decisions are made from that programming. This is why, have you ever noticed that when you maybe go somewhere that you've been before, you don't even have to think about it, you just go? Or have you ever found yourself, like, somebody asked you a question and before you even think about it, an answer comes out of your mouth? That is your subconscious programming. That is what's buried in the subconscious. You're not consciously aware of it unless you decide to be. And so you continue to have the same thing happening. And unless you change that programming, and so that programming, what happens is in those first 7 years, like I said, a majority of it happens there. But then as we continue, everything that we hear in school, everything we hear on TV or watch on TV, everything that happens to us, our friends, our family, and the more emotion tied to it, so let's say it's something traumatic that happens to you, it becomes that much more real. And what happens is your subconscious programming now turns into your beliefs. And so what was once just programs, you've now turned it into your belief in life. And then your beliefs create stories. And those stories become your reality. They become what you have accepted as your life. And so let's say you're going to do something like start a business. You probably have some stories. Maybe Aunt Sue started a business and it didn't work for her and she lost all this money. And, my best friend, Mary Jo, started a different business and it didn't work for her. So now when you go to start a business for yourself, what happens is that you have these stories that, well, it didn't work for him and it didn't work for her. So how is it going to possibly work for me? And if we don't change that programming at a subconscious level, we just get in a hamster wheel. We try and we try and we may have some success, which is what I found. I would have some success, but then I would hit this wall. And I couldn't figure out, why am I hitting this wall? Why can't I get through it? What is going on? And that's kind of when I started on my journey, because I knew there had to be something going on. Like, why wasn't this working for me? Why is it I could start to see some success, but then as soon as I would, something would happen? And so if you can relate to any of that, let me share with you what you can do to change that programming. Now, the other thing with your programming is it becomes your reality. I was having a conversation with my son and he was sharing some stuff with me. And I said, well, is it possible that maybe, XYZ? And he was like, no, it is this way. It was his reality. And there was no talking to him. There was no anything. He was not going to change what he believed to be his truth. And so it takes a shift in perspective, and it takes the ability to be open to maybe there's something different. And it takes living a conscious life, which means that you're really consciously aware of your thoughts, what you're thinking, how you're reacting. The programming, let's talk about our media. Our media programs us constantly. And when you look at the average American, the amount of time, or the average person, let's just say the average person, the amount of time they spend on TV, the amount of time they spend in social media and on their phones, all of that is programming. And now you wonder why media, they focus on everything that's around fear. Because when you add fear and the emotion of fear into a narrative that maybe they want you to buy into, that gets even deeper embedded into your subconscious. And that's why it's so hard to change people's perspective, because they are so attached to that as a reality that they can't even imagine that it's not right. And they don't understand that there are people out there are things out there in our life that are programming us to believe a certain thing. Maybe it's programming you to believe a particular political view, or it's programming you to have a belief around, let's say, God. Everything that we hear around us is our programming. So in order to change that programming, you're going to have to become consciously aware. You're going to have to start questioning. I don't know if you've ever heard people say the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. You have to start asking bigger questions. Don't get caught up in the mundane, day-to-day matrix of life, but start to question what you believe to be your reality. Start to question what you've been told as a child and as you were growing up. Is it really true? Is it really that way? I remember when my son was in high school, and this was way before I started living a much more conscious life, and I was definitely caught up in the matrix. And I remember him, questioning and pushing back. He was my kid that pushed back against every rule, everything. And I remember him pushing back on some stuff. And I, of course, I didn't listen. I wasn't consciously aware or asking questions. I just was like that person that followed the rules and did what you're supposed to. And so as I think about it now and I look back, I'm like, man, he was pretty wise, because the things he was asking made total sense. Why couldn't he do those things? For instance, one thing was he wasn't allowed to leave his lunch table in high school. Well, my kid is ADD, has a lot, or ADHD, because he has a lot of that hyper in him and he needs to get it out. But he was not allowed to get up and just throw a football around. He got in trouble and got detention for throwing a football. Well, instead of me going to bat at the school, which is what I should have done, I was thinking, well, let's follow the rules and this is how it is. And this is where, if you want to have a conscious life, start to ask questions. If there's something in your gut that you go, this doesn't really make that much sense, or why are we listening? We weren't created to have masters to listen to. We were created to have total and complete freedom. We live in a land of freedom. We are supposed to have that. But somehow we have allowed a lot of regulations to come into our life. But if you start to question them, well, why do I have to do this? Why does this make sense? Why can't I do it this way? Why can't I do it that way? So if you start to consciously ask questions and you realize that your thinking around that is not right and you want to change that thinking, what you need to do is write a new script. You're going to write a new script. You're going to start to repeat that script as if it is that way now. So it's not like I want to, let's just say, like for me, I had the script that money grew on trees, only the rich get richer. We just aren't a family that are going to have money, all of that garbage. Well, I had to rewrite that and say, money flows to me easily and abundantly. Well, you have to start to say that script so that your subconscious, because here's the really funny thing, your subconscious does not know the difference between reality and what's fake. So why would you continue to feed it? As far as I'm concerned, they're non-truths, but they may be your truths. Feed it the truths that you want to be. So you're basically manifesting it into existence. So you're going to, whatever it might be, whether it's around money, maybe it's a new job you want, maybe it's your business, whatever it is that you want to bring into existence, you're going to want to speak it as if it has already happened. Now, the big key to this is you have to feel it at a core level. The more of your senses that you can bring into it, your smell, your touch, your feel, the stronger that your subconscious is going to believe it. One of the things I manifested, and at the time, I didn't even realize that's what I was doing, was I was living back east. I wanted to get back to California, which is where I live. I wanted to live 2 blocks from the ocean or within walking distance of the ocean. And then I wanted my favorite Mexican restaurant down the street. And so I don't, it's so strange when I think back. I just always saw that happening. Now, the other piece is I said, I don't even care if it's a 2-bedroom apartment. Well, be careful what you wish for, because that's what I got. And that's great because I am a walking distance to the ocean and I am near my favorite little Mexican restaurant. So I got what I asked for. So be very careful what you ask for. But I didn't know at the time that I was manifesting. But what I was doing is I saw it so clear in my head. I knew exactly what I wanted. I felt it to the core of me. And that's what ended up transpiring. And that's how you change your subconscious. You talk about it as if it has already happened. You see it as if it has already happened. You feel it as it has already happened. If you can smell it, touch it, so much the better. Have a picture where you can look at the picture and know that it's happened. And that's how you will manifest what you want in your life and begin to reprogram the subconscious you have. So what I would suggest is find something that you want to change how you look at it or how you think about it. Something that maybe there's been a little nudge in your gut that you're like, why do I believe this? Or why am I allowing this story to rule my life? Maybe it is your business. Maybe there's something in your business. Like if you are stuck in your business right now, spend some time in the silence. The silence, when you can quiet down your mind, is where all of your answers will come. That's why I don't know if you're like me, but if I'm in the shower or if I'm on a bike ride or I'm at the beach, somewhere where I just don't have a lot going on in my head, things will pop up to me. The shower is my best ideas for my business. That's where everything comes to me because I'm not thinking about anything else. So quiet your mind as far as your business goes and think about what is going on for you. Why are you stuck in your business? Is it you're thinking around money? Is it you're thinking about failure or success or I'm not good enough or I don't know what I'm doing? Whatever it is, pick that one thing, rewrite that script, begin to, post it all over your house. And it's not just about saying it. So don't get me wrong. It's not just to say money comes to me abundantly and flows easily. It is really about visualizing it and then bringing all those senses into it. So share with me, try this for the next week. Try something small. And I would do it at least 3 times a day where you spend 5 to 10 minutes doing this. In my program, I teach people how to use self-hypnosis because that gets you into a deeper state of subconscious, and you're able to really imprint it into your subconscious and your reptilian brain. But try it for a week. Pick something, try it, and share with me in the comments how it goes for you. So I hope this is helpful, because this has been the one thing that has changed everything for me in my life, is this small understanding of the subconscious and living a conscious life. You can use it around fear. I know right now a lot of people have fears about a lot of different things, but fear is such a wasted emotion. You can flip that around. I no longer have fear, and I was one of the worst for fear and worry and stress and anxiety. But you know what? Those are the things that kill you if you don't learn how to get rid of them. So maybe that's the thing you need to work on. But find that thing that you want to work on and try it for a week and see how it goes. And come back and let me know, because I'll look forward to hearing it. And I hope you have a wonderful and blessed evening. And thank you for spending the time with me. Bye-bye.